In 1881, the Ellen Austin set off from Liverpool, destined for New York. Carrying passengers emigrating to America, the ship had been at sea for several weeks when the captain took an unplanned shortcut through the Sargasso Sea. Known for its stormy nature, this route led the Ellen Austin through the mysterious triangle. Shortly into the detour, the captain sighted another vessel sailing erratically in the distance. The ship appeared abandoned and was moving unpredictably. Convinced that it was some form of trap, Captain Griffin of the Ellen Austin kept a safe distance for 2 days before ordering a crew to go aboard and investigate why the ship wasn't responding to their hails. The unnamed schooner was found to be abandoned with an intact cargo. There was no sign of violence and no indication that there had been a reasonable excuse to abandon the ship. Captain Griffin ordered that a small selection of his crew captain the ship, and that they sail together to New York where it could be salvaged. Shortly after resuming their journey, a heavy storm separated the two ships. When the storm passed, and Captain Griffin once again sighted the mysterious ship, he pulled up alongside and found that, once again, it was abandoned with no sign of bloodshed or reasonable damage. Whether too scared to lose yet more crew or pressed for time and resources, Captain Griffin opted to leave the ship adrift and continue to New York. The ship and its makeshift crew were never sighted again. On 4th March 1918, the collier USS Cyclops set sail destined for Baltimore, Maryland. With no scheduled stops along her route, she was due to arrive in port with a full load of manganese ore on 13th March. However, the ship never arrived at her intended destination. The last transmission received from the ship reported that weather fair, all well, and the lack of any wreckage or SOS message has led many to speculate what might have caused the ship and her crew to vanish somewhere in the 9-day window. To this day, the disappearance of the USS Cyclops and her crew of 305 remains the largest recorded loss of life in U.S. naval history. So, you already know I am talking about the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, which is a loosely defined region in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean. This area has gained notoriety due to numerous reports of ships, airplanes, and people disappearing under mysterious circumstances. The boundaries of the Bermuda Triangle vary among different sources, but it's generally believed to encompass the area between Miami, Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. This region is part of the larger North Atlantic Ocean, known for its deep waters, strong currents, and unpredictable weather patterns. The Bermuda Triangle encompasses a portion of the Sargasso Sea, a unique area of the North Atlantic Ocean characterized by its calm waters and abundance of free-floating sargassum seaweed. The Sargasso Sea is often associated with myths and legends due to its eerie and tranquil appearance. Christopher Columbus. In his voyages to the New World, Columbus reportedly experienced anomalies with his compass readings in the vicinity of the Bermuda Triangle. Some theories suggest that these deviations were due to the region's magnetic anomalies. Perhaps the most notorious of disappearances in the Triangle, the fate of Flight 19 and PBM Mariner, has left even the greatest minds reaching for answers. When Flight 19, with a group of 5 Avenger torpedo bombers, took off from Fort Lauderdale on 5th December 1945. They had expected their 3-hour bombing journey to be just as uneventful as the runs that they had done countless times before. Shortly after dropping their payload of replica bombs, the patrol began to run into trouble. Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, an experienced pilot, believed that his compass had started to malfunction and that Flight 19 had been flying in the wrong direction. Concerned, Taylor contacted another Navy flight instructor who was flying close to the Florida coast. With the weather getting increasingly worse, Taylor went against protocol of pointing a lost plane towards the setting sun. Believing that they were somewhere over Florida Keys, Taylor adjusting the heading in an attempt to navigate the Gulf of Mexico. Sensing Taylor's mistake, some of his men challenged his decision to continue northeast and convinced him to turn tail and head back westward. For reasons unknown, however, he once again turned the flight back around, still concerned that they were somewhere over the Gulf. As the flight flew further away from land, their transmissions became fainter and fainter. Having flown for more than their allotted time, the crew were starting to get concerned that they wouldn't be able to correct their navigation before they ran out of fuel. In his final transmission, Taylor told his men that once the first plane dropped below 10 liters of fuel, they would all ditch together for a greater chance of rescue. A few short minutes later, the transmissions ended. Certain that the flight had ditched into the ocean, the Navy immediately launched a search and rescue effort. 2 Mariner flying boats were scrambled to search for the missing Flight 19. However, 20 minutes after taking off, one of the Mariners disappeared off the radar. Neither the 13 crewmen and 5 pilots of Flight 19 nor the wreckages of any of the aircraft were ever recovered. Now the question is, what is the reason behind it? Well, there are some theories and counter-theories regarding the mysterious place. Author Vincent Gaddis coined the phrase Bermuda Triangle in a 1964 magazine article. Additional mysterious accidents had occurred in the area, including 3 passenger planes that went down, despite having just sent "all is well" messages. Charles Berlitz, whose grandfather founded the Berlitz language schools, stoked the legend even further in 1974 with a sensational bestseller about the legend. Since then, scores of fellow paranormal writers have blamed the triangle's supposed lethalness on everything from aliens, Atlantis and sea monsters, to time warps and reverse gravity fields. Whereas more scientifically minded theorists have pointed to magnetic anomalies, water spouts, or huge eruptions of methane gas from the ocean floor. In all probability, however, there is no single theory that solves the mystery. As one skeptic put it, trying to find a common cause for every Bermuda Triangle disappearance is no more logical than finding a common cause for every automobile accident in Arizona. Moreover, although storms, reefs, and the Gulf Stream can cause navigational challenges there, maritime insurance leader Lloyd's of London does not recognize the Bermuda Triangle as an especially hazardous place. Neither does the U.S. Coast Guard, which says, "In a review of many aircraft and vessel losses in the area over the years, there has been nothing discovered that would indicate that casualties were the result of anything other than physical causes. No extraordinary factors have ever been identified." Apart from these, there are some scientific explanations behind the disappearance of the Bermuda Triangle. Scientists at the Arctic University of Norway dove deep into the Barents Sea, and what they found could offer a viable scientific reason behind the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon. Multiple giant craters exist on the seafloor, in an area in the west-central Barents Sea, and are probably a cause of enormous blowouts of methane gas. Methane hydrates are molecules of methane gas, trapped in ice-like structures in the sediment beneath the ocean floor. These hydrates are stable under high pressure and low temperature conditions. However, changes in temperature and pressure, or shifts in the Earth's crust, could potentially release methane gas from these hydrates. Methane gas is less dense than water. When released into the water column in the form of bubbles, it would rise to the surface. This process could create pockets of lower density water, which might affect the buoyancy of ships. The reduced density of the water could cause ships to lose stability and sink unexpectedly. One extreme scenario related to this theory involves the accumulation of methane gas beneath the ocean floor. If a large amount of methane were to be released suddenly and rise to the surface, it could potentially create an explosive mixture of gas and air. This could lead to aircraft accidents if the gas were to ignite upon contact with an airplane engine. One explanation often given for compass malfunctions in the Bermuda Triangle is the presence of magnetic anomalies. Earth's magnetic field is not uniform, and certain areas have stronger or weaker magnetic forces. This can affect compass readings and potentially lead to navigation errors. Another explanation often given for compass malfunctions in the Bermuda Triangle is the presence of magnetic anomalies. Earth's magnetic field is not uniform, and certain areas have stronger or weaker magnetic forces. This can affect compass readings and potentially lead to navigation errors. As we delve deeper into the enigma that is the Bermuda Triangle, it becomes clear that the truth behind its mysteries is as elusive as the vast expanse of the open sea itself. While tales of vanished ships and planes have captured our imagination for decades, the scientific explanations we've explored shed light on the rational reasons behind these events. The Bermuda Triangle, once a symbol of the unknown and the supernatural, now stands as a testament to the power of science and exploration. Yet, as long as the sea stretches to the horizon, the allure of the Bermuda Triangle will continue to captivate our curiosity, reminding us that there are still corners of our world that remain shrouded in intrigue and wonder. So, as we conclude our journey into the heart of this mystery, let us remember that while some riddles have been unraveled, the sea still guards its secrets, daring us to venture further and uncover the truths that await beyond the horizon.